Good morning and welcome to the 2023 Arizona Trail 800 Miles Showdown. I am Jamil Curry here with my co-host today, Eric Halston.
Hey, how's it going?
Great to have you in the studio this year. Last year we were tracking you as well, I think about a day after Mike started on the Utah border.
Yeah, I started one day after him last year, attempting the self-supported record.
Nice.
Also didn't work out. But
Didn't quite work out, but yeah, it was incredible to follow you, and then Krista was out there as well, chasing the FKT. So we are excited to be back. Mike McKnight is attempting the Arizona Trail FKT again this year, and we're excited to bring daily updates on the Mountain Outpost YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe. It's going to be a fun ride the next 12 or 13 days as he is back and taken on the trail, I think with a renewed focus, with maybe renewed motivations and potentially better conditions. I'm just making that up, but maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to waste too much time with our introduction here, but we are going to go live to near the Mexico border right now with Ben Light, his crew. Ben, how are you?
Doing good, doing well.
Awesome. Give us an update. It sounds like Mike just took off from the trailhead. Describe the weather for us and like how does the first part of the trail work?
Oh yeah, so the first part of the trail, so we're at pretty much like the 2 mile mark of the trail. He actually has to hike in just 1.8 miles down to the border, drop about 800 feet. So we're kind of like up on like an overlook, a mini overlook. And I think they call it Coronado Point area, and just right outside of one of the state parks. And he'll hike down about 1.8 miles, down about 800 feet, and get to the fence, wait for the 7:30 buzzer, I guess you can say, and then start making his way back up the 800 feet, the 2 miles, back to us. And here you'll get a live view at that point of him picking up some. He got some minimal pack on, doesn't have all his like fluids in there and stuff, just to keep it light and stuff. He'll pick up some stuff, and then he will head up the peak right behind here. This is just a little bit of a false summit in front of Miller Peak is where he's going to be going, and that's actually the highest point of the AZT. So it's so funny because everybody's like, hey, I'm going to go run from Utah down to Mexico border. It'd be like a net loss. No, Mexico side is actually higher than the Utah side. We're already up at like almost 6,500 feet, almost 7,000 feet where we're at. And he's going to go up to close to 10,000 feet up by Miller Peak and then start making his way through those Sky Island mountains the next 3 days.
Yeah, I think it's a huge misperception about the state of Arizona, like what it is actually like. It's not just a barren wasteland of a desert. It's quite diverse. And the fact right there, I think, sums it up that the highest point on the Arizona Trail is actually almost near the southern border.
Yeah.
What's the weather like right now?
Oh man,
beautiful out.
So when I started last year, I had rain, sleet, high winds up there on the 10,000 peak. I couldn't see anything. I was just in this mist cloud, and just actually it was butter for me. That's like my jam. But look at this. I mean, it is not even a cloud in the sky. I mean, it is so blue and crisp and awesome. The temperature right now is right around 50 degrees. It feels really good, but it is forecasted to get to a high of 85 today. So when he sees us in 20 miles after picking up his stuff here and heading up, it'll be hitting it. That's about 5 hours into the day. He'll be hitting, some of the higher temps, and we'll start loading them up with extra hydration, extra ice, and everything like that.
Did anyone go down to the border with him, or is he solo right now?
Mike, the photographer, went down with him to get capture some content of him starting. Hopefully Mike can keep up with him back up that grade.
That's funny. And then maybe you can outline this year. I know last year Mike had his family out helping to crew him. Sarah was his crew chief. Obviously,
Yeah, sure.
you're with him this year, but maybe walk us through. I think the crew would be cool to learn about, and then maybe you can show us like the rig or maybe some of his gear.
Yeah, so what we got here is Scott. Scott was one of his main crew chiefs last year, so he's taken in on. We're kind of co-crew chiefing him together, and so he's brought the I call it the Starship. It's a really really nice Sprinter van that Mike's going to be residing in, and so he's such a huge help. He drove all the way down from the Seattle area just to be a part of this, and he's going to be here the whole time. So such a huge sacrifice, and we're so grateful for him. And then Jake.
Yep.
Yeah, this is Jake. Are you coached by Mike? So he's one of the. I'm just trying to get so the sun doesn't hit it. So Jake is one of Mike's athletes, and he has come out from Oregon.
Yep. Bend.
All the way out from Bend, Oregon. My brother lives there. And so he's down here for the full time, right?
Yep.
Awesome. He's looking to get some good Arizona miles in. So we got him and his rig, and then we got Rob here. And so this is Rob, and Rob is man, he's New Jersey, or
yeah,
I came
where
are you
Jersey.
hailing from?
Hailing from Jersey. Yeah.
He hails from his van. You know, he lives out of a van now the last 2 months, and so he hails from New Jersey. Just got out of the Navy, and is kind of living the van life while running. And then Mike coaches you as well.
Yeah, Mike coaches me too.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the main crew. We got another female coming out, Brittany. She's a local Arizonan that's going to kind of like join us a few days at a time. And then we got Mike, which is the videographer or photographer that's helping out with some content. And we have an entourage of vehicles. Everybody has a vehicle right now, so it's like I don't know that anybody's pacing just yet, because then we're like sitting with an extra vehicle. So as we have extra people come in, and then frees up the ability to pace him and everything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, we got a solid crew, solid team, and we're gonna make this happen.
Nice. Yeah, you guys are gonna fill up some of those trailheads just with your team alone.
Yeah, there's like this big entourage of vehicles and everything going from point to point.
Ben, we're going to take a quick second. We've got a special guest with us this morning. We're going to switch over to Allison Mercer of fastestknowntime.com. We want to chat a little bit about just the FKT in general, give an overview, if we still have her. Good morning, Allison.
I am muted.
Oh,
hey guys.
You're good now.
I'm good now. How are y'all?
Good. Thanks for being back with us again this year. I know you checked in with us last year, I think maybe a couple times. Yeah, maybe just give us a quick overview of Fastest Known or this record, anything that you want to add to the conversation here.
First of all, I'm very excited to see the attempt be this year in the fall versus the summer, or I guess it was early spring. So the weather will definitely be a lot different than what the guys were dealing with last year. But yeah, Arizona Trail is 800 miles. As you said, starts from the border of Mexico all the way to Utah. And it's not only just the Grand Canyon, but you have all of the different features around Flag and different points. So the current record is by Joe Stringbean McConaughey for 13 days, 3 hours, and 21 minutes. And we will see if, I know Mike wants to go under that, under 13 days. So very excited to see what he does. And we have it currently tracking on our site at fastestknowntime.com. And really excited because I know Mike is dedicating it to a charity with adoption. So it's all for a good cause, and really excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah, with Rod's Heroes, definitely shout that out. Point of clarification, they did do it about this time last year for Mike and Ben. It was yeah, I think just right around this time in October. But Joe Stringbean's record was in spring, and he, if you haven't seen it, amazing film on YouTube, Racing Arizona. He encountered some crazy conditions above the North Rim of Grand Canyon. Like at one point he quit. It was very dramatic.
Yes, the post-holing video alone, you're right. The post-holing video alone was incredible. And also, yeah, so we'll see what the guys deal with this time. But Ben knows it's no easy task.
So does Fastest Known track the direction of travel? Like, is there a separate record for northbound versus southbound, or is it just one record for the Arizona Trail?
We only have the standard Utah to, Mexico to Utah direction.
Okay. And then I noticed too, there is a spot for a yo-yo record, but I don't see that there's no name there. So has no one ever completed, first off, what is a yo-yo? And then has anyone actually completed it on the Arizona Trail?
So what we like to say, and once again, because our site has only been around, I would, 10, 20 years, it could have been done. It's just we don't know about it. So I'm sure people have yo-yoed it, just like any other long trail, where they may start at a point, come back, and do different directions in order to complete it. So people may have done it. We just haven't gotten a submission. So if someone has done it and wants to be on our site and has the verification, feel free to submit it. So
nice. That's awesome. Do you have any questions? Not right on.
Nothing else right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Eric, are you going to attempt it again?
I want to, yeah. Don't know when for sure yet, but not this year.
Are you going to get Josh to do some banter with you and kind of egg you on? I heard there was a lot of back and forth between you two.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah, that was fun last time. Wasn't really expecting that, but it was a good encouragement.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Josh Perry, the holder of the self-supported AZT record, was texting Eric and kind of just encouraging him, but also just doing some friendly banter, which is so fun. And I know you probably did the same with him when Josh was doing Cocodona. So I think that's what's great about the community is everyone involved and the support. So
can we actually put the fastest known time up on the screen? I want to shout out Shad here. He's our producer for the next 3 days here in the studio.
And another thing that's interesting is Heather actually started her attempt the exact same day on October 27th in 2016. So it's very interesting that a lot of the records were started around this time. Josh started October 30th. Helen, who has the supported record, started November 3rd. And so did Art Brody, who actually did it unsupported.
Could you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Maybe.
Jeez. Oh.
Could just move it from
Yeah. There we go.
here. There we go. All right, so they're right there on your screen there. This is from the Fastest Known Time website. There is the entire Arizona Trail on the map there. And as we go down, we can see some of the records. So, of course, we don't have the entire history of every attempt or every record, but these are more of the recent ones on the Fastest Known Time. So there are different categories, as you can see. So if you're new to the FKT or the Fastest Known Time, Allison, I think we can still hear you here as we look at this webpage, but can you talk to us a little bit about the difference between supported, self-supported, and unsupported?
No problem. As you could see with Ben, with the attempt that Mike is doing right now is supported, where he can get people to crew him at any different spot. He can have pacers people along with him the entire trail. He can get whatever support he needs along the way. If he wants to get food, if he needs extra, whatever he needs on the trail, he can get any kind of support. Ben wants to go, 100 miles with him. He's free to do that. Self-supported is more anything you need, you are doing yourself. So once again, if you need food, you go get it. If you need a cache where you are sending supplies to different places, you are doing that. You are the one that is directing any kind of support. So you can get support, but you cannot get a pacer. You do not have a film crew. Nothing is during a self-supported attempt. Unsupported means, which is absolutely incredible that Art did it on the Arizona Trail, and we have a podcast on that, is he had everything start to finish. He did not get any support. He did not pick up anything along the way. He carried all of his food and supplies from start to finish. And only thing he can get along the way is water from natural resources. And he did it in 28 days. Imagine carrying 28 days worth of food along the Arizona Trail. It's incredible.
That is unbelievable. I have not listened to that podcast, but I'm going to have to put it on my drive today because, what was he carrying? Just dense calories?
I mean, everything,
His backpack
yes.
weighed 80 or 90 pounds.
That is amazing.
Wild. Yeah. So, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And it was funny because a lot of people didn't believe that he did it. They're just like, 28 days of unsupport. Do we recommend it? Do we encourage it? No. We want to make sure that people are safe. They're not getting rhabdo. They're not overexerting themselves. So choose the style that works for you, not one that you're like, oh, there isn't an unsupported, I'm going to go do that. So it definitely takes a certain type of person to do that. So, I mean, if you want to learn from him, go ahead, but do it with caution, please.
What I noticed looking at the list, it's pretty incredible to see how, the self-supported times are in line with supported, sometimes beating them. We see that Michael Versteeg, of course, had set the FKT in 2016, and then Jeff Garmeyer came in and lowered that as a self-supported effort, and then Josh Perry took it to another level, took almost over another day off of that, and it's really not that far off of Joe's supported record. That's kind of a really cool element. I know you're along the more self-supported effort. Maybe talk a little bit about what could be the advantages of a self-supported versus a supported effort.
Yeah, self-supported, one of the big advantages is you don't have to rely on anyone else. So you can camp wherever you want every night. You don't have to line up crew spots or a camping spot with your crew. So it's a lot simpler in that way. And then you have everything on your back, so if there's some kind of an emergency and you need to stop early, you have all of your warm gear with you. And then also I think most self-supported FKT hikers like Josh and Jeff Garmeyer, they both have a big background in through hiking, so they're very used to being by themselves, and you get used to doing everything very efficiently and just maximizing time walking. Because neither of those guys, I think, ran very much at all on their records. I know Josh said he walked every step, but you just get very used to doing things efficiently, which if you're used to having a crew, then you rely on them for a little bit more.
Well, and then when something inevitably happens to your crew, it can throw off your entire plan. I know there were multiple instances with Mike last year. The roads were muddy, they couldn't get to him. So his resupply was not there. He had to go an additional 30 miles with a couple gels.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to make it to a certain spot to sleep. So you're not really taking care of yourself in the way that you could do for a self-supported.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to just, if you feel bad, stop a couple miles early and just go to sleep there because it doesn't make a difference.
I want to go back to the FKT site one more time. I just want to scroll down and shout out the women who have been out on this trail before we go back to the border. So Helen Galarakis has the supported and the overall records, 17 days, 11 hours. I think we are going to have her on this show on an upcoming day. And then the self-supported, we had Heather Anderson back in 2016, and then Katie Brown lowered that in 2022 again. So the supported and self-supported records are just within a few hours of each other. So we'd love to see, definitely more women on this trail. I think there definitely have been some great attempts. So I think we're also going to try and get Katie and Heather on at some point in the next couple of weeks. But love to go back to the border. I know we stepped away for a minute. Time is now 7:35, so Mike should have started 5 minutes ago. Ben, we're back with you.
Yeah.
Do we have any word from the border? I don't think there's any service down there.
No, there's no service down there. And if he started, say 5 minutes ago, roughly, I would say we're not going to see him for another 10, 15 minutes.
Nice. Well, if we have any questions in the chat, we'd love to pull those in. If you have questions for Ben, any words of encouragement, maybe let us know where you're tuning in from. This was a lot of fun last year. It was really great. Just the community that formed with the daily check-ins was just a blast. Let's see. How many, what was I going to ask? What kind of food is Mike going to be carrying today, Ben?
Well, oh man. So he got Spring Energy for sure. That's his go-to gel. He has some Siete chips lying out that he's pulled out, so he's going to be picking those up. And I think he ate a keto brick or partial a keto brick this morning. I'm not exactly sure what he grabbed. He packed his pack on this first initial while I was getting some other stuff ready. So I'm not exactly sure what he put in. I know he has some chomp beef sticks and stuff like that. But the thing with it only being 20 miles, and I know people kind of have a hard time understanding this. So just a reminder, I mean, him being the low carb runner, kind of is his call sign, is he's not the no carb runner. And the nice thing is with the low carb, dietary regimen, you just don't have to use as much carbs, so he doesn't have to carry as much. Our big strategy is to fill him with a lot of calories at each of the aid stations so that he can then go minimal in between. He'll be carrying stuff, but he'll only grab it if he necessarily needs it and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a lot of times people will are fueling pretty heavily during an event, and so we'll see how it adjusts. I mean, that's what it is right today, day one. He has his glycogen storages all filled up, everything's fresh and stuff like that. We hit day 2 and 3 when he's consuming, tons and tons of calories. We'll see kind of an idea of what he is going to and what he's tired of, because it completely changes, and that's where the crew comes in and starts scrambling. And that's where the hat's off to those self-supported, just like Eric here, whatever he decided that went into his bags, that's all he has to, unless he hits up a little town or something like that and grabs a pizza or something like that. And that's kind of sometimes out of the way. So it's kind of, it's nice as a supported effort that you can adjust on the fly, and somebody can jet out and go to the store real fast and come back and switch things up a little bit.
Nice. Shad, if we could pull up the track leaders website. I noticed that we indeed have a couple of points. So we have an official start, and it looks like he is on his way back up. We might need to refresh this page. But if you want to follow along, you can go to trackleaders.com, and then I think it's the second one down, you'll see the Arizona Trail, Mike McKnight. We're making our way down. You can see the MM. We can zoom in a little bit more there. Show you guys what it looks like down there. So you can see that where that road crossing is, that's where Ben is at, and you can see if you hover over his name, his initials, you can see that that was just 1 minute ago. He's 0.4 miles in. So we're off to a racing start. So Ben, we can still hear you, I think. Oh, there you are. So we got official confirmation he is on his way back up.
Awesome.
Do you want to give us a little tour of the rig? Well, at least one of the rigs. Show us.
All right, we'll go.
We're just curious.
Yeah, we'll go to the Starship.
All right.
They like to take a look at the Starship, so let's take a look at this. So, just so you can see it. Nice Sprinter van. It's not going to get into any extreme 4x4 areas. We'll have to do the truck, but I'm going to.
Is this what you were in last year, Ben?
No. No, I was in Taylor Spike's van. This is actually what Mike was in last year.
Oh, okay.
And as you can see, it's pretty posh. You know, this is where the magic happens back here. You know, so this is where Mike's going to be sleeping. It's a king size bed, really nice. He does have a shower each night and a toilet. It's going to be heated. We got a refrigerator, microwave, stove, tons of storage. So it's going to be, you know, pretty poshy sleeping quarters on most of the nights. If you want to know kind of where where I'll be residing, I'll be residing in Mike's Moonlander here. Just kind of up there on the nice little cot and everything like that, you know, the things that we have to sacrifice for the runner, you know, so.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. But yeah, but then each of the other guys have their own support vehicles and stuff like that as well.
Nice, that's awesome. It's pretty cool. I was out running at McDowell Mountain Park last night ahead of Havalina 100, and it's going to be a full moon weekend to kick this thing off, which is going to be pretty magical. I don't know how far into the night. It sounds like maybe Mike will be going till midnight or so each night. That's going to be, I think, a really cool experience.
Yeah, like we're going to kind of play these first 3 nights because, I mean, as you know, this lower 200 miles is a rough 200 miles. Last year, I kind of was trying to stick on that. We have kind of the same split set up, but I was trying to stick on that 60 plus miles per day mark. And with the overgrowth, so we're hoping it's going to be a little different this year, but with the overgrowth, I was putting in close to, you know, 18 to 20 hour days, you know, battling the vert, battling the overgrowth and everything like that, which probably wasn't the proper approach, I would have to say. So me and Mike are we've been talking a lot about how to do these first 3 days, these first 200 miles, and it's going to be a judgment call each night as he comes in. If we're close to like that 10 o'clock range, obviously he's not going to want to go back out for another segment and be in like 3 or 4 in the morning. So the idea is trying to wrap it up as best as possible right around that 10 o'clock range so that he can get a good 4 to 5 hours of sleep, get back up around 3 or 4, and be back out the door like an hour before sunrise. That's ideal. We all know from this world things don't go quite that plan, but if he gets in like at a 7 o'clock range and 3 hours out from a 10, it's so early in the night, unless he's trashed, he's probably going to push another segment, and then we'll just sleep later in the evening or in the middle of the night, and then get up earlier in the morning. So the idea is, no matter what, 4 to 5 hours, regardless of what time he gets in, and then we'll adjust from there. But we're hoping with the overgrowth, things speed up a little bit more than what I had it last year.
Nice. Eric and Ben, maybe for both of you, can you guys walk us through maybe this first section, or this whole first day? I'm sure he's probably going to make it past Patagonia, probably towards Kentucky camp. So maybe, I don't think you were doing your southbound, but yeah, walk us through that first part.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where he'll get about 60 miles in. Ben, you probably remember better. But I know the first section is over the Huachuca mountain range there, where he'll go up by Miller Peak. And that's a pretty steep area, a lot of climbing to get up to Miller Peak, and a lot of downhill on the backside. But from what I remember, it was decent trail through that section. Wasn't super overgrown, just steep. So he'll probably be able to move pretty fast today, but I can't remember what mile marker exactly it is once he's over the Huachucas.
Yeah, I think it's about 20, right, until you guys meet up with him, and then you kind of move into the Canelo Hills, which is a bit lower in elevation.
Yeah.
Parker Canyon Lake, I think, is down there too.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's 20 miles up and over, and then we get down into those lower hills. It was actually really nice, runnable, like in those, even in the grasslands. I never hit the overgrowth until. So there's a section that's new last year. It was new last year. He'll have it this year, where the older, like Joe and the older runner, or AZT guys, would actually take a left and go down a road and go into Patagonia, and they'd actually go through Patagonia. Well, last year they officially adopted a new passage that actually bypasses Patagonia, and it takes you just kind of straight north and crosses the highway, and then even another new passage from the year before that they actually cut. It was so that passage that's new that bypasses Patagonia. It added 2 hours onto my time frame, because they added the passage, but they hadn't cut the trail yet. So it was a complete. There was zero trail, but you could see feet print. You could see the feet print from people like trying to find their way through, but it was like you were really just navigating off of a GPX file with zero trail. Like there was not even a deer trail. Like it was no trail. But what they did is they figured out where they wanted it, and then I've heard through the grapevine that they've come in this last summer, and has started to cut that trail, and it goes through some pasture lands and there was a lot of cows and stuff like that, but yeah, there was like zero trail. So it was a real it slowed things down a lot last year, because you're just lost kind of, and you're just kind of following a line on your watch or on your phone on the gut hook app or the Far Out app. And so hopefully it's going to be a lot different for Mike this year on that section. But this whole first day it really isn't that bad. It's really awesome. It's a really good break-in period. The overgrowth, I didn't hit the overgrowth. I think it's that Kentucky camp. That's up over the other mountain range from Patagonia. There's a camp that you actually go through. It's like, buildings and everything out in the middle of nowhere. I remember that specifically. And then right after that is where the crazy started happening for me. So hopefully he's going to have some relief on that. But this first day, it's an amazing run. It's a great break-in day.
Yeah, it looks like Kentucky camp is at mile 81, so that would probably be a bit of a stretch for day one.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that they now bypass Patagonia. That makes me a bit sad, actually. I'll just be honest. Like I thought it's just a super cool little town down there. But I also resonate with what you said about the following the no trail GPX track. That was my experience in 2008 when I hiked the trail before it got completed. There was a couple sections north of Kentucky Camp where the trail was yet to be built, but I had the GPX file, and they had these little tin markers that they hung in bushes where like the trail was going to be. And I was trying to be a purist, like I'm gonna follow the new trail, and it was not a good idea.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
Well, hopefully they've completed most of that stretch for Mike on this attempt here.
Is Mike's plan to make it about 60 miles today as well, despite starting a couple hours later?
Yeah, every day is a plus 60.
Okay.
Towards the end, and depending on how he feels, I mean, this is just, it's all hypothetical when you're dealing with 800 miles. But towards the end, once we get to Flag is our kind of like, depending on how you feel, we're going to start turning it up and turning this into a big push towards the end. A lot of less vert after Flag, is even after Pine. Once you get up on the Mongolian Plateau, it starts to really flatten out, and he'll be able to cover, and we might even clip off maybe a couple, like one extra segment each day, just to start to chip away. Even, you know, obviously he wants to beat Joe's, but if we could, you know, beat it with even a little bit more buffer to make it more interesting for the next individual that gives it a go.
Ben,
makes it a great thing.
We had a question from the chat from C Chat Run. He's asking what gear Mike is using, so shoes, pack, and lighting.
Okay, yeah. So all the lighting and pack is Ultraspire. He'll be using the Zygos pack. I think that's like actually my favorite pack as well. What I used last year. So he'll be using the Zygos. He's going to be using the waist light. They actually got a brand new waist light. I'm not sure if it's a prototype or if it's been released yet, but they actually have a new waist light out that they asked him to give a go. And then he has their headlamp as well. So, and then poles are going to be Lakey poles. You know, anybody in this industry knows the Stellar Lakey's that sets the bar for poles. Shoes, Speedland. So he's a new Speedland athlete, and I'll just tell you, I mean, I'm an ultra guy myself, but he let me, we wear the same size, and I put on his Speedlands, and I'm a little jealous. I'll just tell you that for sure. Those suckers are like slipping on house shoes. I mean, I'm serious. They're like slipping on trail running house shoes with a nice soft upper, and like they're as light as air. I mean, whatever they did and however they designed it, it's money. So I'm a little jealous about that.
Nice. We're going to leave the screen on Ben here, but I know Allison wanted to jump in, and she has some questions for you, Ben.
Okay.
So Ben, do you want to talk about some of the reroutes and other things that you may face and Mike may face about on the Arizona Trail?
Yeah, so, well, we were really concerned about some reroutes earlier this week. There were the Forest Service are doing some controlled burns up actually north of Pine, up on that Mongolia Plateau. Just really shredding that name. I'm so sorry. But we just got word from the AZT Association, or not them, but actually the Forest Service. He actually has a couple of Forest Service guys that are following along, and they actually updated him that the controlled burns are done. Everything is open and good to go. We didn't have to alter any routes, so we're back to the original route right now, as long as nothing unforeseen happens, let's say it that way. So no reroutes for right now.
Right. I just think it's wonderful. We've talked before about reroutes, and any long distance FKT, we always have to be mindful of that, as we saw with the PCT, and really appreciate the crew doing their due diligence and communicating any reroutes so that there's no controversy for these FKT attempts. And it just shows the detail that, people do on these attempts. So we really appreciate it, the communication with the Forest Service, with the Trail Association, and everything. So really appreciate everything that you've done for the preparation, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, and for those that are watching, if they're ever looking at doing an attempt, it is take that personal responsibility to go through and do your due diligence and look up the areas, get on the Forest Service, make sure there's no, closures, be respectful. And it's in FKT is so willing to work with things like that. And so if, let's just say that they weren't open, what we were planning on doing was creating a bypass and then submitting it obviously over to the Forest Service to make sure they're okay with the bypass, and then submitting it over to the FKT association to make sure they're approved with the bypass, trying to, and making sure everything's legit, so that, doing our due diligence. So in the end, everything's is golden, and you're not trying to, trying to figure things out post run.
Right. Now, I have another question. Given there's that little race called Havalina going on, are you going to do some recruiting after, once String Bean, Legend, Versteeg are all done? Are you going to pick up and get some intel and get some pros, maybe get Eric along to help crew and, give some good beta?
I really hope people come out. Like, I don't know how trash they're going to be after that and how much they're going to want to run. But, Jamil definitely has the lineup over there at Havalina this year. There's a lot of names. It's pretty great. I mean, but we welcome, anybody. It's just such a morale boost. I don't think the rawness that you go through as a human, pushing day in and day out. I remember last year as I was coming closer to Vail, the Vail area, the corridor, and I had a good, 20 different people come out and meet me at one of the crew spots. And, I'm, a little sentimental. It kind of brings tears to your eyes because of the, the physical pain that you're kind of pushing your body into. And then to have these people come out and show so much love and respect and hold up signs, and it's a big deal, and it really shifts the attitude. And anybody in the endurance world knows that attitude is like such a number one factor in energy production within the body, motivation, a why that drives you forward. So that kind of love expressed is just absolutely amazing and is so welcomed. And we would love to have people come out and just show their support and shake Mike's hand. And Mike's so good, he's such salt of the earth person. He just wants everybody to know how much he appreciates them. He always tries to take a little extra time and stuff like that. Just know that you're going to see a man in a raw form when you show up. It's very humbling.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful to see the community that's supporting Mike, and what we saw last year with a lot of his athletes coming out, with his coach Jeff Browning coming out, and just everyone behind him and rallying around him, and as he struggled, and you just saw the true spirit and like the realness of it, and people at their low points, that it's not all, great times. Like, you really see what he was going through.
Yeah, and in the experience that I think it's that it bleeds over into other people's lives and what they see and they witness and everything.
We're continuing to watch the tracker. Yeah, it should be pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I'm just kind of hanging back and just trying to look. We can't really even see anything until he just wraps around right at the end.
He was at 1.6 miles just about a minute ago. So it should be, I think he's probably got most of the climbing out of the way at this point. Should be any minute.
Yeah, I'll kind of walk over here and just kind of meet up with him once he comes through.
So if you're just tuning in, Mike McKnight, he started his Arizona Trail FKT attempt about 29 minutes ago down to the Mexico border, and we're at right now live look from, what is the name of this? Is this the pass? Is this? Do you remember the Coronado Pass trailhead?
Yeah, Coronado trailhead.
That's right.
Yeah, here he comes right now.
All right, here we go.
You can see him back there coming down the steps. He's going to come through the pavilion. All right. Can you use the restroom? Yeah. Okay, go use the restroom. He's going to use the restroom before he heads on out.
Sounds great. So we're going to get a look here as he didn't take much down to the border, but it sounds like he's going to load up with his pack for the day. He's going solo through this section, Ben?
Yes. Yeah, he'll be going solo. There's actually a really nice gentleman that offered their house last night that we stayed in Sierra Vista. He actually took another trailhead. He hiked up, and they're going to meet somewhere right around Bathtub Spring. Yeah. And he's just going to kind of take him for like a mile or two across the top as they traverse over. And then as Mike drops down to down into the valley, he'll just head back to his car and stuff like that. Such a nice gesture and everything. So we really appreciate them and the warm and hospitality. And so
that's cool. So yeah, Mike will get loaded up here with his bigger pack. He'll have about 20 miles to the next crew spot.
Yep. Okay. Whoop. I just wanted to do that. That was a bad idea. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah. Looks like we're on
I was trying to turn the camera. Oh. Well, are you seeing out now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Well, I hit the turnaround button. I just can't see myself.
I see his feet.
Here he comes.
We got a picture image of his feet. There we go.
Are you able to see right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see him. The service isn't great, but we can see him now. There he is.
Okay.
How much pacing will you do, Ben?
Oh, actually, I'm on strict no pacing duties right now. I kind of have the reason why we're not throwing down the same similar type of scenario is I got a stress fracture in my number 4 metatarsal. So
Ben,
the sad thing is it doesn't.
Could you switch the camera real quick? Sorry, we have a freeze frame.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, try and switch to a different camera.
It won't.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Maybe.
Let me see here. Why is it?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's perfect now. Awesome. We're seeing him get.
Is that one better?
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, perfect. I'm trying to figure this little system out here. I guess switching the camera switches through all 3 cameras. No, but yeah, I was just saying that the stress fracture my foot. So I'm on a hard stop right now of running and just doing strength training and minimal stuff. So there's your raw milk here.
Oh boy.
Everybody likes this right there.
Dang, it's so frozen.
That's all you need to get up and over the Huachucas, I guess.
I guess when you're asking about the nutrition, he's gonna be lugging a gallon of raw milk along the way.
Hey guys, see ya.
Hey Mike, how you doing?
Hey.
What's that?
How you doing?
I feel like crap.
Oh boy.
No, I'm great. We got to the border about 20 seconds before 7:30, so we're on time. No, we're good.
Efficiency.
What's that?
Efficiency.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks
Well,
for doing this, guys. I appreciate it.
yeah, man, we'll be rooting for you and we'll be checking in.
Okay. Good luck at Havalina too.
All
Do
right.
you need a hat? I got your hat. Okay.
Okay. See everybody.
Okay, see you in 20 miles, bud.
Awesome. Quick transition.
Yeah, they'll slow down, I promise you.
Is the plan to meet him about every 20 miles whenever you can?
Yeah, it really comes down to where we can get to, you know. And so the first one is actually the biggest section that he has is the 20-mile section, and then the next one is like 13. He does have a 17 later on, and then another 12 or something like that.
Sweet.
Well, we're off to a great start here today. It looks like a perfect day once again, as he'll be heading up into cooler temperatures as well for the first part of the day.
Is this better? Like that?
More questions in the chat? No. Pretty light this morning. Oh, we got Brittany Light here in the chat. Go, Mike.
Hey, babe.
Awesome. Well, if we don't have any more questions, Ben, do you or the team or the crew or anyone else have anything additional to add this morning?
No, just how much we appreciate our appreciation for Aravaipa, for you, Jamil, and for Eric to come on to the show. And then we want to wish everybody good luck out there at Havalina. Such an epic and awesome event. And then we're looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully all positive vibes and all positive updates each and every morning. So Mike has a mantra about no complaining the whole 800 miles. So we'll see about holding him to that.
So you have to put a quarter in the quarter jar if he complains every time?
Yeah, we got to come up with something on that one. Maybe he has to eat a donut every time he complains.
Could you switch your camera again, Ben? We're frozen right now on a shot of your beautiful van.
Let me see if I can.
Let's also maybe show where else they can throw quick. So track leaders, if we can do a quick refresh on this one. This will be kind of the dot tracker for the next 12 or 13 days. You guys can go check this out. You can see the whole map of the trail, the elevation profile down there, and then you'll be able to see exactly where Mike is at. So currently we're at mile 1.8, as you can see. And I think also, maybe we can pull up his Instagram real quick. If you guys want to follow along, Mike J. McKnight on Instagram, and he, I think, should be posting throughout this trip as well. Each day we'll kind of go through some of the updates, and then we'll have a photo album with hopefully some of the highlights from each day as well. So that's kind of the goal of each day, is do a check-in. You guys can hopefully ask questions for Ben and the crew, and if we're lucky we'll get a live sighting of Mike. We can't promise it every day, but it is possible that we'll get some check-ins from him as well. So Eric, any other thoughts?
No, it's just cool to see him start. Nice to have that camera right at mile 2. And I'm sure he'll do great today, and it'll be cool to see where he's at tomorrow.
Yeah. Awesome. And yeah, another shout out here to Rod's Heroes. If you want to go check this out, we'll probably link this in the description of our video, but you can probably search for Mike McKnight, the Arizona Trail, at the Rod's Heroes site. So they raise money to help kids with Down syndrome get adopted. So he is looking to raise $5,000 here, but even more so, he's specifically looking for someone to take on adoption for, I think, a specific individual. So please check this page out as well. Support if you can, if you like what you see here, and yeah, get out there and get a run in today, everyone. I guess with that, we're going to close down the show. Allison, thank you so much as well for being on today. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, and excited to follow along.
Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.